Hey, we're here with Dan Black, who's in town promoting his newest record, Un.
Un?
Thanks, Un. Yeah, it's hard to say because I know it's Un.
Well, it's Un and because I made it in Paris.
Oh.
So.
But it's hard to.
It's
just
multilingual.
Hard to read it.
Well, it's also like a little, it looks a bit like with those two. It's got two brackets, so it kind of looks like a speaker booming out as well.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of things. It's a bilingual album title. Perfect for Canada.
Perfect for Canada.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with us. I guess Symphonies is the big track off this record.
Yeah.
How'd you hook up with Kid Cudi, sorry.
Kim, his lesser-known sister.
Yeah.
Kid, that was really a simple, a mutual friend played him some of my stuff. He really liked it. He quickly got in contact and said, particularly liked Symphonies, so could you send me an instrumental? 2 days later, he emailed me back some vocals he'd done. I loved it. Bish, bash, bosh, it was done.
You're no stranger to the hip-hop community, given that the first real big
Yeah,
hit
sure.
and how many people know about you is
the Hypnotize thing.
the cover of Hypnotize, right? What happened? Well,
so it became Symphonies because... So I did this version where I took lots of different samples and put them together and then over the top sang... wrote a melody to the lyrics of Notorious B.I.G.'s Hypnotize,
right.
And it kind of kicked off on the internet and was going to be a single. And the night before the video shoot, we had a phone call from the Notorious B.I.G. estate saying, "Sorry, you can't use this." Now, normally, if you take other people's lyrics, it tends to be a cover. But because I'd written a melody,
right, you'd change
it legally gave them the power to veto it, and they veto everything. So any
Really?
Exploitation of his
Interesting that a hip-hop artist who samples all kinds of people...
There is definitely a certain degree of irony in there. It's, a culture built on records, turntablism, and samples.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit about the music making process, because I understand for
Sure.
you it's probably more unique than it is for other musicians. You write first on the acoustic and then...
No,
all on
opposite.
computer?
No, I can, as you might see later, play acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
But now, particularly on this record, I start in the digital realm and sort of come out. So a lot of it started with me messing about on computers and splicing together things I've always wanted to try and splice. And then when I get kind of excited, starting to write lyrics and melodies and building songs out of it.
Is it do you mostly use Pro Tools, or is it a whole bunch of different software that you use?
Well, there's a big old bunch of stuff out there. So each time you sit down, you want to try and keep yourself excited. So
Right.
I use Logic and Live and Reason and...
I would imagine the internet has helped at least give you a lot more to work with in terms of sounds and sampling and being able to pull stuff
sure.
from...
If you say, I'd like the sound of a Indonesian jungle,
It's easier
3
to
or
find
4
it.
clicks away, you've got the sound of an Indonesian jungle. But, it's all just more stuff to put you off coming up with an idea, basically.
Right. And the transverse is true, too. In order for people to find out about your music, I mean, the internet's been a huge help, right?
For me, I wouldn't probably be sat here now if the internet didn't exist. So, yeah, totally.
How active are you on Facebook or Twitter? Or
Relatively. I'm not, Ashton Kutcher levels of tweeting. But, yeah, I try. It's particularly Facebook, I find quite a good way to have a not too close enough relationship with people who are into what I do.
It's hard to describe to people your sound, and we wouldn't want
Tell me about it.
We wouldn't want to pigeonhole you into any genre.
God forbid.
No.
But let's try and do that.
No. Well, just in terms of influences, maybe that's a better way to
Sure.
talk about the music that you make. And we ask everybody who sits down to talk about 5 records that help shape their musical taste.
Okay.
What would those
There's
records
5,
be for you?
well, I'm sure I'll say 5 now and then go, no, those aren't the 5.
Well,
let me think. I guess, we talked about the sampling elements, so maybe, I'll plump for one, maybe 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul, which
Their
is an
best
album,
record.
arguably, which is built completely out of other people's records, and I remember hearing that as a kid and being like, having my head twisted by it. Also, a similar period was Paul's Boutique by Beastie Boys, but yeah. For that one, I'd say 3 Feet High and Rising, and obviously, and also the way they lesser talked about is they sort of broke the way they, particularly on that album, it's very conversational and very anti the sort of cliches of hip hop, which I'm not. I like the cliches of hip hop, but you know they were singing about Daisy, you know, peace and hippie things, and in a very clever, you know, their rhymes didn't rhyme in the way that other people's rhymes. It was kind of really
Cadence
cool.
was
Yeah,
too.
exactly. And that I like things that break rules. What else? Sigur Ros's it's an untitled album. It's just got 2 brackets,
Right.
Which is like their second or third album, and that album I particularly deeply love, and they kind of maybe them and maybe Heaven and Las Vegas by Cocteau Twins, like 2 albums, both I think sort of use made up language and have amazing vocalists who have an amazing sense of melody, but very uncliched, and kind of really demonstrate the power of music to get at something that nothing else can. Sort of go like, this is those unspeakable feelings that we all have and can't really bring into words. Those artists particularly touch on that way that, you know, music can make things like that appear, and you know, be dealable with.
There has to be some pop record that.
Sure. So I've got 2 more. So let's go Prince's Sign of the Times,
Right.
which is a very diverse, very pop, but very clever and beautiful and
Underrated probably as a
possibly.
Yeah.
Him or that album.
I think the album and maybe even Prince to a certain degree. Everybody thinks he's brilliant, but you know, as far as somebody who's been making music for a long time and surely should be a rock icon.
Well, he is, and he is. I mean, you could argue that part of it's his own fault. You know, he did certainly. He sort of had a faultless run, and then really kind of lost his way.
When he
For
became
me,
the Sign, probably.
Yeah, it was like not as good. But you know, hey, he certainly made enough amazing records to justify then making a load of rubbish ones. And then I'd say something like maybe Super Duper Fly by Missy Elliott,
Right.
which is again just one of those things that's like, where did this come from? And it's very fun but very strange at the same time, and it sort of welcomes you in, but it's breaks lots of rules and is deeply cool.
For you, it's about nattering around on the computer first and then coming up with lyrics and melodies.
Generally.
Yeah.
Generally. There's always exceptions, but yeah, generally.
Right. What's up for you now? So you're touring this record?
So I'm touring and touring and touring. At the same time, since doing this record, a lot of people have got in contact for me to do like production, co-writing, all that kind of stuff, which I've never really done a lot. And recently I've got massively involved in all that with quite interesting artists. And
like who? Can you tell us?
well, a lot. I can't really.
Right.
Yeah, I don't really understand why. I guess it's because if those things don't come to full fruition, maybe they've not been comfortable about it being known. Some people I was quite surprised by. I'm like, well, you don't need me. I've been ripping you off for years. Why are you coming to me? So yeah, no, it's really.
So you're
exciting.
in the studio remixing and
A lot of it's on now the genius of technology. I've got a laptop with I haven't got time to go into studios, so I'm basically in airports, on planes, in taxis, headphones on, programming, driving people mad in hotel rooms, singing, and yeah, it's fun.
You're always working basically, whether it's performing or.
It does seem to be at the moment that I have forgotten to weave in rest and fun, but my fun is doing what I do. So cool. I am not complaining.
Continued success, man.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for dropping by. I appreciate
Pleasure.
it.
Thanks for having me.
Cheers.